Why would dumped islanders have the power to have someone else dumped with them? That don't make no sense. Let's get into this episode recap. They've had that little final dinner. And Jasmine are going over the people who've been dumped, his brother and her friend. Talk about, they were both vital people in the villa, and it was a privilege to do this with his brother. A privilege to have Aiden in the villa. Of course, Cav is emotional. About, you're 21 and you've come on this crazy experience and you found love. Has he? And you did it with your brother. I'm gonna pep talk about how people on the outside are gonna really love Aiden. And then you're trying to give this man multiple kisses. This man is emotional. He's just trying to All right, Jasmine. We have Tommy and Yasmin. She's not really sad because she's going to see these people in a few days who've been dumped. She said sometimes he's just like, Priya needs to shut up, but, she's actually going to be missed in the villa. Yasmin agreed that she do be talking a lot. We have Mika and Samraj. It's sad to see their closest people go. But then Samraj saying it shows that they're not as disliked as they were before. And Mika talk about stop it. Samraj, funny you say that. Like the reason Priya and Aiden were voted least is because of that national rail comment. Had she not said that comment, Samraj should be out that villa. Next. Not gonna lie. Then Yulia, she really liked his speech, like they're exclusive or exclusively dating, whatever that means. Said, whatever they got between them is serious for him. We'll see. Of course, Simba and Angie, they're just really happy to be doing this experience with each other. Yeah, back to that exclusively dating, because I think it was Lorenzo was in the dressing room with the girls and they're like, oh my God, congrats on being exclusive. And he's like, no, exclusively dating. What's the difference between exclusive and exclusively dating? Quickly. Anywho, morning, they got a text. They're going to have some people with the old faces coming in, okay, to decide their fate. I will say the ex-Islanders came in looking good. Some of them, I did not remember names. I had to look it up, okay? Of course, we have those who came for revenge. And then some I thought came for revenge, but didn't actually do their revenge. Let's start with Ope. I swore up and down he was going to vote Simba because what Simba embarrassed him for is exactly what Simba did. You had two girls, now you got none. Simba went through the whole thing. So imagine my surprise when Opa gets up. One couple, they've had a up and down journey. He doesn't know how they'll be on the outside. But this couple, though, they've been smooth sailing, but there's some question marks. Because the whole breaking up in December and then 2 weeks before the villa, it's a little suspicious. So his vote was Yasmin and Tommy. Then we have Lola. She talked about it's a tough decision. Girl, no, it's not. You know who you voting, okay? Everybody prioritizing a couple, but this one, really, person, being other people's business other than theirs, okay? Of course, Yulia and Lorenzo. Yulia wasn't fazed. Then we have Tommy, which kicked off a surprising twist for me. Said, this couple might struggle on the outside because one person is heavier in it than the other person. Of course, Mika and Samraj. And I'm so sorry. Anytime someone voted for Samraj and Mika, Samraj got something to say. But I'm not trying to drag anyone, but I feel like there are two couples who are stronger. Do you think you one of the strongest? Asking if Tommy's decision is clouded because of his friendship with Lorenzo. I would vote when Tommy to stay. Was your friendship with him clouded? He talked about in 2 years' time, him and Mika will still be together and the narrative will be different. You think you lasting 2 months? 5, 6? Okay. Let's just see what happens a couple weeks after y'all leave that. Well, y'all out now. I have Robin. She had 2 couples in mind. The decision was altered within the past 24 hours. Imagine my surprise when she's grilling Tommy about his timeline and how it doesn't add up and whatever the case is. And then switches over to Mika and Samraj because of the back and forth from friend to lover. And that was her vote. That's interesting. How was it altered within the last 24 hours? We have Sam. He said Samraj's actions with Priya was definitely not it. With Tommy, I don't think he should end it with someone before coming on here. So his vote was Yasmin and Tommy. Even Tommy tried to explain himself. Baby, your fate was already in the people's hands, so it wasn't going to change the decision. We have Tina. She was considering a few people. Obviously, she was very disappointed in Simba's actions, but believes he can change. And we're Samraj and Kevin. What is Samraj doing? Guys, I can't remember. Her main thing was Tommy going on a TV show 2 weeks after leaving somebody. So her vote was Yasmin and Tommy. We have Chidi. He said the power dynamic between this couple and the fact that Jasmine brought Jordan and the whole play around that. So his vote was Jasmine and Kevin. Charlene, she had a little moment. Samraj and Mika did things that were disingenuous. Kevin and Jasmine have had big things happen and she was part of them big things. Called out Mika for her comments. Mika apologized. I don't think, was she expecting an apology for Jasmine? Because Jasmine was like, well, I do that with everybody. I see where you're coming from. Who she picked, Jasmine and Kevin. Are we surprised? No. We have Ethan with his questions on logistics and compatibility. He picked Mika and Samraj, and of course Samraj had a rebuttal. I think you guys have it confused where you think I live in Germany. I'm moving to London. Yeah. It don't matter. We'll see when you move now. Then we have Alicia. If Priya and Aiden were there, that would have been her vote. But her issue was the job shaming comment and the fact that Mika laughed. Now, Mika did throw Priya under the bus talking about, I laughed in a what the fuck did she say type of laugh. No, haha, it's funny. Roll the tapes. Did you make a comment after she said something? No. Anywho, her vote was Mika and Samraj. Imagine getting a vote because you laughed. Have Finley, he said, Mika and Samraj are always in the bottom. And then with Tommy and Yasmin, the whole 2 weeks before coming into the villa, he ended up with Mika and Samraj as his choice. And then Samraj talked about the public vote. It's not about compatibility. It's about, what was it he said? It's more about popularity. Okay. Ali did Mika and Samraj because they took long to find their spark. Mara quoted Cav saying how he finally got his spark back and this is the happiest he's ever been when he was in Casa. So she picked Jasmine and Kevin. Victoria said a couple she would have picked went home. Between the bottom two again, Tommy, Yaz, Mika, Samra. She went with Yasmin and Tommy. Jordan said this couple been in the bottom all the time. Mika and Samraj. Maybe I made a good point. This whole 2 weeks thing had it never come up on the podcast, when would it have been said? So she went with Yasmin and Tommy. Fitz, he said this was a tough decision. Boy, bye. He talked about, Simba, Casa was there. And Cab, that was the only negative. Lorenza and Yulia, it's good to see y'all. Y'all are good. I wanted to leave a few times. Shows how strong she is with Lorenza, with Samra. The 2 week thing with Tommy wasn't good. But only one couple hasn't said I love you. So he's voting Lorenzo and Yulia. And that girl said, and I have something to tell you. Poke Mahone, or however you say it. I'm not going to lie, she ate that. She ate that. Ellie, she said, based off what she's seen online, even though she knows these people are a strong couple, but she had to go with Yasmin and Tommy. Martha said, with Cav and Jasmine, half of it, she wants it to work out. The other half, judges about the whole Casa thing. There was a whole switch up. Then with Mika and Samraj, I've been preaching on what y'all want other people to be doing, but y'all be doing what you preach. Whole Priya situation made her look at them differently, so she voted Mika and Samraj. And Yulia and Lorenzo, they had 2 votes. Jasmine and Kevin had 3 votes. Yaz and Tommy had 6 votes. And Mika and Samraj had 8 votes and have been dumped from the island. I want to know, had the whole Tommy thing not come out, how many people would have voted for Mika and Samraj? Because it seems like everybody wanted him out. Y'all see my fave, Angelista, and hence I said fave, because they're not faves. Angelista's my fave. She's just with Simba, okay? But it has 0 votes. Period. At first I was confused because I'm like, okay, why aren't all the islanders saying goodbye to them and helping them back their stuff and bringing her back down? Only for them to get a text talk about only 3 couples can make it to the final. Choose 1 couple to be dumped. Why would you give them, why would they have that power? They don't deserve that. Samraj don't deserve that. I want to give this man power to dump somebody. Who y'all think he gonna dump?